And welcome to This Day with BJ Arnett, and I am BJ Arnett. We want to thank you for being with us today. I want to get right to this story because it's an important one. Are you a survivor of abuse? Did something happen to you as a youngster or as an adult? Or that first day of college, you found yourself in a position at that first party perhaps that didn't really want to be in? Abuse is rampant in these United States, and we need to talk about it. We need to pull back the veil. My guest today is Rhonda Green, and she is pulling back the veil with her ebook, 7 Ways to Free Your Mind After Abuse. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I want to talk to you about your book, most certainly, but the subject matter in itself says there was some abuse.
Yes.
So speak from where you were when you realized that you were abused.
The first time it happened, I was in total shock. I was not expecting it. I don't think anyone ever expects something like that. You get involved in a relationship to love someone, to spend the rest of your life with them, and then for them to destroy that trust because of their actions. I was just totally taken back by what was going on, and I had no idea what to do because I was already in a relationship where my heart was with this person.
Mm-hmm. Is this a place where you have to find your safe zone again?
Most definitely. After getting out of that relationship, I still did not trust people in general. There were certain times I would be in a professional setting, and even if someone pat me on the shoulder and said, "Great job," if it was a male, it's like, oh gosh, what's next? Is this person gonna also hurt me too with that once loving touch?
I think women, we get a bad rap on two sides. One, when we're abused, we ourselves don't recognize the longer we stay is the longer we're abusing ourselves and that other person. Our physical abuse and mental abuse, we cave in and then we lash back, usually first with ourselves. We begin to hurt inside in such a manner that it becomes physically impossible to function. When you found yourself where your stomach is churning because every time he walks in the room, you don't know what is about to occur. How did you find yourself stepping out of that?
Abuse certainly has a cycle. There's always that honeymoon phase, then there's tension, and then there's an act of violence. The only way you can step out of that is first realizing this is not the way God intended my life to be. I want to love someone, and we as women often are so caring. We want to nurture. We want to help someone be their best.
We want to fix him.
Yes, we want to fix him.
We can make it work.
Right.
Yeah.
We want to fix him to be what we want, but that may not necessarily be what God wants. Everyone has to have their own journey to becoming the person God created them to be so they can live in the purpose God put them on this earth at this time to live.
Your book says 7 ways to free your mind after abuse. I know, walking out of that myself, that the first step was forgiving myself for staying.
Right.
Forgiving myself for all of the mental turmoil that I took myself through. And then forgiveness in order to receive the grace of God. In your 7 ways to free your mind, what is the most important element in those 7 ways?
The most important thing is to change your thinking. Everything begins with our thought life. If we believe we are worthy, then we're going to look at that situation and realize this is not fulfilling who I am. This is not taking me to the place that I want to be in my life. So I am worthy of more. We have to change our thought life. I believe everyone, if you dwell in negativity, that is what's going to be portrayed in your life.
I think also we have to recognize that dwelling in negativity is in its own place a platform of abuse. That dwelling, that staying there, that lack of understanding that we can walk out of this really keeps us bound for so much longer than we would need to be. Forgiveness is a part of this.
Absolutely. And you're right, it will keep you bound because I got out of those relationships over 15 years ago, but I was still bound. I was bound because I had not forgiven myself. I was bound because I had not moved on. So I was actually abusing myself because I still wasn't feeling worthy
Yeah.
of the life I was created to live. Therefore, I had to come to the place where I really had to free my mind.
Well, as I look at your book, and I know it's an ebook, and which I think is great because today everyone is walking around with their book on their telephone or iPad or something. Talk to us about some of the things that you see as the best things to do in order to stop the cycle. Of course, we have to free our mind, but how do we stop the cycle in the first place?
You have to get out of the cycle. And for me, I was not strong enough to just make a decision to get out of that cycle. It took a situation where I was actually taken into custody after calling the police. I'd called the police several times. They'd been to our home several times. So they knew if we don't do something to wake this young woman up,
Yes.
she's going to call us again. So they took us both into custody. And that was my wake-up call because I had to go to the jail. They did not put me in a cell, but they just were trying to teach me a lesson, even though at the time I didn't know that's what they were doing.
You couldn't see it.
They were helping me.
Wow, wow. You know, there's so many different levels of abuse today. There's the emotional abuse and there's physical abuse. And many times you'll hear people say that physical abuse is so much worse, but I personally believe that the emotional abuse lasts so much longer. When you're told that you can't, when you're told that you're not, when you're told that you're worthless, you begin to be what you're fed through those verbal commands, basically.
Right. The emotional goes into the mental abuse because our minds and our hearts are connected.
Yes.
And so whatever you're feeling, whatever you're thinking, that's what's going to manifest. So we have to definitely, once again, break that cycle by first freeing our mind.
What would you want to give as, you know, the book itself is a gift. It's a gift from you to others. But what would you want to give that person who's sitting there right now saying, no one knows this. Our house looks like a very happy home. No one knows.
I would say to that person, you have one life on this earth. When you're 120 or 130, I want to live a long life, so we'll say over 100.
Yes, indeed.
Do you want to look back at your life and wonder, did I spend my life with the right person? What would my life have been with if I made a decision to get out of that situation? What would my kids' life have looked like if they saw mommy as a happy person? Because the drawing on this book was done by my daughter.
Wow.
And she does...
And it's fantastic.
Right, but when she gave that gift to me, I saw how she saw me through her eyes. There's no smile on that picture.
No.
It was just
There's an
blank.
intensity.
Yes. Yes, I would tell that person, this phase of your life, you can walk out of it and move into another phase. You can just create yourself a new cycle outside of that cycle of abuse. You can start finding the joy in your heart. The joy and the strength of the Lord will definitely bring you through.
Absolutely. You know, there are places all over the state of Georgia and, of course, all over the nation that has a willingness to help you walk through. But for myself, I will say I had two very loving friends who took me away, literally took me away to the mountains and told me I was worthy. That was the thing that I remember the most to this day, and that was many, many years ago. And they said, you're worthy, you're worthy. Having someone walk beside you during a time like this where you know you want to step out, you know you want to leave, I think could be one of the most important elements.
Yes, there are several times my mother and my sister would take me out to lunch, ask me, why are you in this situation? We did not grow up in a household like that. My parents are happily married to this day. I never saw that. And that was one of the reasons it was so shocking for me. And it shocked me into a place of, oh, I'm so afraid to get out of this now. But having that support system definitely makes a difference. But you still have to make the decision.
Make the decision to leave. As I think back and all of the people that I've met over the years, both men and women in abuse situations, The one thing that really resonates out of all of the conversations over the years is that there's a place in your life that you simply have an inability to believe your own voice.
That is so very true. And that's why I want to encourage other individuals who are victims of abuse to get out. And beyond that, because there's lots of programs that help women and men to get out. But after you get out, what do you do?
What do you do?
And that's why I want to help guide people to get their lives back on track.
Why an ebook and not a old-fashioned paperback?
I wanted this to be a free resource. And you're right, everyone has their cell phones,
Yes.
their iPads,
Yes.
so you can just easily download it. And that way, even if someone is embarrassed to share, because part of me staying was because I was embarrassed to let people know I was in this situation.
Yes,
Because
yes.
people look at you and they say, you're smart, you're pretty. How could you end up
How in the world did
here?
you get here?
Yes.
Look, I remember so well. How in the world?
Right.
And it's almost, there's a stigma in that as well, because then you say if the neighbors know, or if my coworkers know, and for me, if network news knows, oh my goodness, what are they going to think? But it really is about quality of life.
Yes.
And you don't serve a God who says, be abused.
Right. And believe it or not, the neighbors know because they hear it through
Right,
the
they hear
walls.
it. They hear it.
Yes.
They hear it. So where you think you're hiding it, like your daughter, people see it through your eyes.
Absolutely.
After you were able to walk away and you found yourself in the position stronger than the day that you decided to take that first step, how have you seen your children or your daughter change as you have changed and grown and healed?
She's happier for me. She realized that Mommy was not in a good place. And I feel bad because I raised her from a place of not knowing who I was. And my worst fear is that that affected her, because she's a young child, and once they grow up, you don't get those years back.
No.
But thank God we have a very close relationship now, because she can see me being me. There's nothing I have to hide. I can be completely honest, and my happiness is true.
It's something so beautiful about restoration, something so wonderful about being restored back into a mindset that allows you to receive love and to give love and to know truly what love looks like. Because part of our issue is, though we were raised by great daddies, we try to fit someone into a mold versus see who they were from the very beginning.
Right.
It's an interesting subject, and no one way is the right way except the way to God. Seeing yourself truly through His eyes and how He has described you. As you look back over this journey, what have you gained?
I've gained myself. I've gained my life. I've gained a future that I look forward to living, because there was a time where I did not want to live because things were so horrible. I did not understand. That was all Satan's plan, to destroy my life. Now I look back and I say everything works together for the good of those who love the
Yes,
Lord.
indeed.
And I can see that happening each and every day in my life. So when I wake up in the morning, I just say, thank you, Jesus, because He allowed me to live to see another day. And I can enjoy the beauty of each and every moment.
Golly, if you don't say nothing, you just laid that one out. I can enjoy each and every moment. Rhonda Green, you can find Rhonda's books and at her website at rhondagreen.com. You can't get any easier than
That's
that.
right.
RHONDA Green.com. You want to make sure that you get the opportunity to tell your story to yourself first. Remember, you can testify to yourself just how good you are, just how wonderfully you were made, just how special you are, how powerful, how empowering it is to be you. God bless you. We hope you have a great day.